Hey y'all, I'm popping in right before this vlog gets started to remind you of two things. Number one, GREENSTALK is having a basket weave sale. All of their basket weave planters are on sale. I think the 5 tier is $109 and then the 7 tier, it may be $129. Don't quote me on that. But you can use my code LFF10 for an extra $10 off. So if you know you want a GREENSTALK for the fall garden or even for your next year's summer garden, grab it on sale. This is the time to do it. The second announcement that I want to say is that our elderberry syrup is back for pre-order. If you've ordered our elderberry syrup before, you know that we do it in small batches once a quarter. We take pre-orders. It only has 6 ingredients: elderberry, clove, ginger, raw honey, distilled or filtered water, and cinnamon. And so if you want some elderberry syrup as the kids are going back to school, you want to build up your immunity before the fall and winter hits, please grab a bottle of our elderberry syrup. The pre-orders are going to be actually ending tonight at midnight unless we decide to extend it, but don't take that chance. Go ahead and get your order in, and all the orders will be shipped on next week. So grab a GREENSTALK basket weave on the sale, and then also grab you some elderberry syrup. Now let's go watch this vlog. I think you're going to enjoy it as I talk through what's going on this week on the farm. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're brand new. I'm so glad that you stopped by this channel, y'all. Today we are just doing some basic gardening things in both or in all of the spaces, and so I thought I would take you along with me. Today has been very, very hot. So this is at the end of the day. I have about 30-45 minutes to get something done before it gets dark. But this was the only time. Well, I'll take that back. I was out here this morning right before it got too hot, and did some harvesting. So we got like a basket of stuff that we have to preserve. But I didn't get a chance to kind of get any tasks done. I just came out to harvest because I had missed it the day before. And so the main thing was to get the okra, because you know, we all know okra. Say it with me. Okra is a diva, okay? So if you're new here, my name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee in Zone 7B, about an hour south of Nashville. And so we've been gardening for the last 5 years, which is wild to say. But my garden started back here in my backyard, which is where we are today. So there's lots of things we're going to do today. But before we jump into the rest of it, the first thing we're going to do is actually fertilize. It's been on my list to do, so let's go ahead and get that done, and then we're going to have a chat. Fertilizing, I know, can be one of those things that can get pushed off the list or pushed down the list over and over and over, because sometimes the harvesting takes priority, the planting takes priority, but I have really tried to emphasize fertilizing on a regular basis over the last 3 years. So I've been gardening for 5 years. In the first 2 years, I did not do any fertilization whatsoever, just because I simply didn't know what to do and didn't even know that I should. But one of the things that I quickly learned is that once I started fertilizing my garden on a regular basis, I started to see more yield, more production, and less insects and pests. I've talked many times before about what I use to fertilize. The main products I use are Ultra from AgriGrow. I use that every week. It is more of a probiotic for your plant, so it helps with nutrient uptake. And then I also use organicrev.com. There's a coupon code in my description box below. So I use those two pretty much every single week. Then sometimes I will switch out the rev.com and use fish emulsion or use a nitrogen blend, depending on what the crop is or what I'm experiencing in my own garden. But those are the things that I use. The other thing that I use on a regular basis is a product called Regalia. It helps to build up your plant's immunity. So it helps with pest and disease. It is a bit pricey, but I actually just ran out and I bought the bottle 2 years ago. So it is a bit pricey, but you can see the space that I have using it every single week in the summertime, and I just ran out. So it's definitely worth the cost and the benefit. When it comes to fall and winter, I don't fertilize as often, and we'll talk a little bit more about why that is and what the fertilizing needs are during the fall and winter as the season progresses and as you keep watching the channel. So if you're new here, we have 3 main growing spaces. Right now I'm in the back of my house, which is where my garden started. We have 5 raised beds out here and then a total of 5 green stalks. So I fertilize everything out here, but y'all, we got a mess on our hands. And I say mess, that sounds negative. We just have the sweet potatoes are growing wild, and in between the sweet potato beds are weeds, or inside the beds. And it's been hard to try to weed and not get the sweet potatoes and pull up the wrong thing. So let me take over here and let me show you. But then also my little seat that I use sometimes when I'm planting out here has gotten tangled up in the weeds. So let's see if we can get her a loose. you can see how massive these sweet potato beds are. They are 100% covered, and they're covered all in between the beds in the walkway that my husband has not even been able to weed eat in between the beds because the vines are everywhere. Now, I did read that you can prune your sweet potato vines, but y'all, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm afraid to, because I don't want to risk losing my sweet potatoes, and so I'm just not gonna do it. But if you have pruned your sweet potato vines before, let me know. But let's come over here to this bed. You can see my little seat hanging here, and it was here from when I planted the sweet potatoes, and now it's all tangled up in the vines. So I couldn't do it with the thing on my back, but let's see if I can somehow. Okay, there we go. Oh, I'm just trying to maneuver it. Okay, there we go. We got the seat loose. But you can see how literally these vines, how long they are. They're literally all in the aisleway. And so I've been trying to like pick them up and keep them out of the aisleway. But of course they keep falling down. And I've been trying to get the weeds, like this is a weed for sure. But they're also intertangled that it's hard to not pull a sweet potato vine. Let me know how you guys are dealing with your weeds in your sweet potato bed. I'm very thankful for the growth, but man, these things are wild. So I would love to know how you guys are handling the weeds in your sweet potato vines, and if your sweet potato beds are looking like this. And y'all, they still have a good 2 months to go. Sweet potatoes are a long maturing crop, so they take anywhere from 100 to 110 days. We planted these, I have to go back and look at my notes, but I know that they're going to be ready right before the first frost, which is in October. I'm going to let them go that long. I'll put up here when I planted them, but they still have a ways to go. So they're already filling the bed, which is a good thing. And so I have 4 different varieties out here. I have Carago, which is a variety from Baker Creek that if you saw my sweet potato planting video, I talked about that. It was a very expensive, it was like I think $17 or $18 for only 5 slips. So very expensive, but they tout as one of the most productive sweet potato plants, and that the flavor is amazing. So I tried it out as an experiment. So that's what's in the first bed, that and Bayou Bell, which is a new one to me. And the second bed is Beauregard. That's the one I've planted for the last 4 years. It always does well for me. And then in the very last bed, I have Evangeline, which is new to me. So I cannot wait for the sweet potato harvest. I'm tripling what I normally do. I normally do 1 bed of sweet potatoes, but here we have 3 beds of sweet potatoes. So I am not complaining at all that they're all over the place. It's just a little hard to manage. But we got everything out here fertilized. I actually watered this morning. Watered the green stalks. Everything else, all the beds are on drip irrigation, which is a blessing, so I don't have to worry about those. I'm having one issue out here, and one issue only, and that is the hornworm has found my Roma tomatoes out here. Let me go show you what's going on here. So out here I have my Roma tomato plants, and you can see here lots of damage. You can see that there. A hornworm. I have not been able to find the hornworm, and again, I know I can come out here with a black light at night, but I just haven't. It's at the end of the season, and so some of the stuff in terms of like my diligence and vigilance, it's a little waned. Okay, I want my Roma tomatoes. I cannot find the hornworm, but the tomatoes look good until they get bitten by the hornworms. I don't know if you can see that there. Let me bring you a little bit closer. So you can see I definitely have the hornworm damage, but look, the tomatoes look good until they get eaten. And so I've been trying to wait until they start blushing before I pull them, because I know once they start blushing, they can ripen the rest of the way in the house. And I'm trying to like beat the timing of the hornworm, but the hornworm has 1 and I have 0. So the hornworm is beating me. I have definitely thrown away more Roma tomatoes than I've actually harvested that were blushing. Now, last night I came out here and I had some tomatoes that were yellowing. They weren't necessarily blushing like with the red, but they had turned from green to yellow, which is the first sign of blushing. I Googled it and Google said that they will ripen the rest of the way in the house. We're going to see. We're going to see. But I harvested, I would say probably 7 or 8. They look good. They had not been bitten. If they can just harvest the rest of the way in the house or ripen the rest of the way, that would be fantastic. These out here, they're not yellowing or blushing at all. So, and then some of the ones that have been bitten, I've left out here as a way of psychology. I don't know if this works, but I'm thinking if the hornworm can just focus on what he's already bit and just finish that off instead of going to new plants and just biting one off each plant, that would be fantastic. So I don't know if we're going to get a huge harvest of Roma tomatoes out here. Like, I've never had hornworms out here when I've grown Roma tomatoes. It's always been a success. But you know, this is an unusual gardening year where we've just had more pests than normal and just more issues. But overall, out here has done the best when it comes to pest damage and just growth. Overall, everything out here is looking relatively good. I did have some squash and zucchini out here earlier, and the squash bug saw it. But I had some good harvest before that, so we pulled those out. We are going to do another round of squash and zucchini for the fall or going into fall. That'll be ready to go out in probably the next 2 to 3 weeks. I have it in the house as a seed start. And so I can't complain at all about this space. I just wish that my Roma tomatoes, that I was going to be able to get like one big nice harvest. And these are determinate varieties, which means they put on all of their fruit at one time. So once I pluck these off, the hornworm gets them, I take them in the house, like it's done after that, and I can just kind of like pull the plants. So we'll see what happens. But speaking of fall seeds, let me show you how the fall seeds are doing. So at the time of this video, I started these seeds a week ago, and so they are all doing well. I'm actually headed to go out of town, and so I stopped starting seeds because I didn't want too many started before I left. I wanted to get the ones that I did established, and as the days went on, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be out of town, so I at least wanted them to be established some before I went out of town. So that's why I only did half, and then when I come back in town, I will do the rest of my fall seed starts, and I'll make sure to take you guys along with me. Why my dogs are out here acting up, I don't know. Lex is in heat, so you already know. You know the drill on that. She mad at Max because Max won't give her any attention, and Max like, I've been giving you attention all day, all night. I'm tired of you, okay? But that's what's going on with my dogs. But let me show you the footage of how the fall seeds are doing. I'll insert that right here. So one thing, I have 3 trays of fall seedlings so far. So this is my calendula. It's doing good. Snapdragons are slowly but surely coming up. Right beside it are the violas, and do not have any germination yet, but they do take a little bit longer. And then beside that, I have some alyssum, Brussels sprouts, and I think there is broccoli in there as well. But I have 100% germination in this tray. Oh, cauliflower, that's what's in this tray. And then below it, I have another tray, which is the cabbage and the collard greens. And so I have good germination in there, except 2 or 3 cups. Y'all, I'm really excited about my fall seeds. Could you say 100% germination? 100% germination on just about everything. So the only thing that has not germinated are the violas. And I've read that they can take, up to 10 to, I guess, 14 days. Now, I saw conflicting things on Google. I saw that, which I've never seen this before in my gardening, is that it said in one place that the violas require darkness to germinate. I've never ever seen a plant, flower, or herb that requires darkness. But then in another place it said light. Then I went to the Baker Creek site where I bought the seeds from, and on Baker Creek it says light. So I'm going to keep them under light, and we're going to see what happens. This is my first time doing violas. It's an experiment. If you've successfully grown violas or pansies from seed, drop me some tips down below. Let me know how long it took, and let me know what your success rate is, and we'll go from there. So that's this space. Let's, I think what we're going to do now is we're going to actually go out to the outside garden, to the tunnel, and see if there's anything to be harvested out there. and to take care of a few things, a few tasks that's going on out there as well. So I'll meet you out there. Before we go down to the outside garden, the tunnel, I thought, let me grab a basket and let me harvest what's already out here, because I know that we'll have some harvesting to do down there. So I'm going to do a quick harvest, and then I'm going to meet you down there. Okay, so now we're in my high tunnel, and we got a couple of things to harvest, but also I want to show you what all we have continued to rip out with the tomatoes, and show you what's left of the tomato row, why I kept what I did and how much longer I'm going to keep it, and then also show you that we have already started getting some spaces ready for the fall. So let's grab our basket first and let's harvest. Well, no, let me show you the tomato row first, then we'll harvest, and then I'll show you some of the fall places that we're doing. I had already showed you before that this whole row was ripped out. That's been done. And these are the ones that we kept. And so we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably 8 tomato trees or plants left. And I can tell you that these are about to go. This one is about to go. That one's about to go. And that one's about to go. You can see up there hornworm damage. And these have been sitting here for a week. I kept these because they looked okay, but they have not produced anything. Same with this one right here. Like, none of these have tomatoes on it. Now this one I'm still keeping because it actually has tomatoes on it. They haven't started blushing yet, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there, and 6. So even though I do see some hornworm damage on here, these tomatoes seem to be okay. Then of course we ripped out all of this, including the eggplant, and then we have this one left here. It'll come out because there is nothing on it. I'm sorry, I thought we ripped up the eggplant. That is about to get ripped out because it has nothing on it. And then I have 1 tomato right there. So for the most part, you can see there's only 2 tomato plants that actually have tomatoes on it after a week. So I'm going to get rid of those and keep these 2, just probably for another week or so. We'll see what they look like when I get back. These tomatoes are not blushing, so I can't pull them yet, and they may be destroyed by the time I get back, and if so, that's okay. So getting rid of 90% of my tomatoes was definitely bittersweet. Bitter because obviously if I could have another month of tomatoes, that would be great. I could make many more things. But it was also sweet in the sense of I like it better with it being empty and the rest of the stuff that's in there looking decent, versus me keeping it and it just looks all riddled with pests and it looks diseased and it's just an eyesore. I want to come into my garden and I want to feel peace. I want to feel growth. I want to feel excited. And when I see a lot of dead things, even though that's part of the gardening journey, it doesn't make me feel the best. And so it was better for me to rip them out for those that weren't doing good and just to keep the ones that still look decent and still producing. So I got to harvesting what I could, and the peppers have been quite a disappointment compared to previous years. I've never really struggled with disease on my peppers, especially those in the high tunnel. I grew on the high tunnel a specific breed for specifically the greenhouse that can deal with high heat and high humidity, and they just haven't done well. Like, my peppers are much smaller than they normally are. They have a lot of disease and stuff. And of course I talk about soil health, and I know that when you have a lot of pests, it's something that's in your soil that is not optimal and that's not doing good, plus the weather conditions and all of that. So it's not 100% something that I can control, but I'm trying to figure out what do I need to dial in better on my soil, and why did I have such an issue this particular summer. It's going to be interesting to see how my fall garden does in this space. And that'll tell me, one, if it was completely a soil issue, if it was completely weather related, or was it potentially the varieties or the brand or where I got the pepper seeds from. These pepper seeds, I normally get them from Johnny's. This particular year, I got them from Territorial Seed, and that's the only difference. So that's just really odd. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm just stating, hey, the peppers have not been as well as they normally are. So I'm having to pick peppers mostly when they're green and maybe a slight blush. I've picked way more green peppers than I ever have, just because as I let them ripen on the vine, they tend to get riddled with and get eaten up. So I've just been pulling them green. And you know, some peppers are better than no peppers at all. And so definitely I'm getting peppers, but overall they are smaller, and I'm getting very few that are already ripened and still good. Now, here's the outside garden. I wanted to update you on the tomato row out here. You can see we pretty much got rid of everything except there's one right here. It's still producing. This has blushed and she is good. So we'll put that in our basket. Here, let me just take you down the rest of the row and we'll come back and harvest. There's one down there. So basically the same thing. I kept the ones that were producing. Like I still have some Amish paste. I'm waiting on those to blush. And so if I can get them, that's even better. Like that one doesn't have anything on it, so it'll probably go. This one is still producing. Like, see, that one's good, so I'll get that. This one is still producing, and I'm able to get some good ones off of that. But as you can see, the majority of the row is completely gone. We only left the ones that still were producing. And even though they look rough, they're still producing. They don't have a ton of damage, so we'll get whatever we can from these. But pretty much the majority of this row is gone. We did get our potatoes planted in all three of these beds. That was on a previous video that you saw about us planting the potatoes. And so those are in the ground. So we have all three beds full, except this bed, the right side, doesn't have anything in it. But everything else is full and good to go. So we're just waiting for them to sprout, and hopefully we'll have potatoes. Our corn has started to tassel since the last time I showed you this garden, so that's exciting. So hopefully when I come back or close thereafter, we will have some silks. But that is the first step of it tasseling, so that is a good sign. So that looks good. And let me just say, even if you don't have tomatoes in your garden, you still got a garden. I'm saying that for me and for you. You can see, y'all, this row looks, I mean, these plants just look burnt up. Burnt up. This is my purple whole peas. But again, I'm leaving them because some are still producing and I'm getting the stragglers. I'm almost at a gallon size bag. So, but it's definitely slowing down. But like these are not as bad. And I don't know if this is some kind of disease or they're just burnt up from the sun. Y'all let me know, because I don't know. But those are two good ones right there. Down here you see I had more tomatoes. We've ripped those up completely. Except that right there. And then I'm going to show you the flower row. This whole row was flowers. We call this our pollinator row. And even though we still have some flowers out here, you will see that the majority of them, we have ripped up everything that wasn't producing and that was bad. So all of this has been ripped up. We got coneflower or echinacea right there that's still looking good. This section ripped up. We have some celosia that we kept that's still looking good, but then all behind it is ripped up. So if you look at the garden, I'm on the back side where the watermelons are. If you look at it from this angle, the garden, I mean, you can look at this and see, oh, it's still producing, it's lush, but you can also see there are a lot of open spaces. We're just in the second week of August and there are a lot of open spaces. You can also see that we've been starting to clear out all of the weeds along the fence. Our goal, hopefully, this time is to be able to lay new paper down before the weeds come back. But again, we're about to be out of town, so it's always something. It's hard to get everything done and to catch up. But you can see we do still have a few watermelons. Like there's a couple that's ready to go. That one looks pretty good. That looks like a cucumber, but it's really a watermelon. It's misshapen. That one's misshapen. There's a handful here and there. But for the most part, you can see we have a lot of empty space. So now let's harvest this outside garden space and see what all we can get. So I start with the tomato row. Not the tomato row. I start with the okra row because we got to get the okra. We missed yesterday, so we want to get them today. We try not to miss any days, but that is the way it goes. And so I'm going to see how many I can get that are not too bad. And then the ones that may be too big or something like that, I'm going to start collecting those and I'll be saving seed. And so maybe I'll do a video on saving seed in the upcoming weeks. It's been a couple of years since I really talked about it in depth, so we can certainly talk about that if that is a topic that you want to hear more about. But I harvest the okra and then I go down to the rest of the row and get whatever remaining tomatoes I can get. And then I just go through the whole garden picking whatever I can. Okay, y'all. So we were able to still get 2 baskets of harvest from all 3 spaces. So not too shabby, even in the second week of August. So we got some okra. We have some bell peppers. We have some jalapeno peppers. We have some green beans. We have some purple whole peas. And let me show you the tomatoes. Get back. Oh, y'all, these bees. Okay, so even with all that, we were still able to get half a basket of tomatoes. We got 2 or 3 slicing tomatoes, and then the rest are cherry tomatoes. So keeping those few, we are still getting something. Y'all, I know that tomatoes are the quintessential sign and epitome of garden, of summer gardening, that is that you got to have tomatoes in your garden. But I'm here to tell you that even if you don't have tomatoes left in your garden, you are still a gardener. You are still a gardener and you can still have food. So if you're in the valley of decision about whether to pull up your tomato plants that look wretched and bad. Now, if yours are looking good, power to you. Keep rocking with it. But for those of you that your tomatoes are looking bad and you try to, y'all, the bees. So if you have tomatoes in your garden that look wretched and that look worn and you know you need to pull them out, go ahead and pull them out. It's okay. You can still have the rest of the stuff in your garden doing okay and not have tomatoes and still be classified as a gardener. It is a-okay. I'm talking to somebody. If not, but anybody but myself. And so although the summer garden is on the decline in certain areas, we still have certain areas like the corn that has not come in yet for the second succession. So we still are looking and waiting for the corn. Also, we have some, I didn't show you this, but we have some rattlesnake beans and cucumbers that are vining up that are looking great. Also, we've started, like you saw, our squash and zucchini, our third succession of that we're going to put in the ground, and hopefully it's going to be okay. So it's like a mixed bag. Part of the summer garden is waning, part of it is still thriving, and then we're also into fall. So it's like a triple threat, right? Summer garden declining, summer garden is still thriving, and then we start on the fall. So y'all, that's what it is. That is what it is in the month of August, and that is a-okay. I hope and pray that your gardens are doing well. I hope and pray that you are encouraged to continue to grow food. I hope that you're going to have a fall garden. If you want to get your hands on the fall garden replay, the link will be down in the description below for the fall garden workshop that I taught. You can grab that. Also, remember, y'all, this is all a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.